Hello and welcome. In this video, I want to take a deeper look into creating the new record. So let's begin. Firstly, we talked about the details and also the delete. Then I'll talk about the index page. In addition, we need to take a deeper look inside creating the new record. If I come over here and click on the create new record, as you see over here, I have the create at the top, the students and first name, last name up to the end. I can easily write something like the test here and create the record. After a couple of seconds, the record is saved inside the SQL database and it's added over here in the index page. So let's take a look in the actions inside the controller. Come over here and come to this one and the Visual Studio and come to this and put it at the left side and this one to the right side for better and easier results like this. If I take a look inside the controller, this is my controller. I have the index, first we talked about that. Then I have the details and here I have the create. As you see, I have two create actions. The first one is a really simple one and the second one has more code inside it. Indeed, the first one is the view of creating the new record. Indeed, if I click over here, this is the first view for creating the new record. And after writing something inside it, then clicking on the create button, after that the create or my second create will be executed to save back the changes inside the SQL database. So the first one is for loading the view and the second one is for saving the data back inside the SQL database. For better understanding, I can easily add the breakpoint over here and start debugging the website. So this is the result. Let's back to the list one more time and create new. As you see, the view is executed and indeed the create view will be returned. If I take a look, I have the create view over here, click on it, and this view will be returned after clicking on the create new button because of the simple action inside my controller and inside this indeed. So let's continue and this is the continue. And in the next step, let's add the next one or my second breakpoint here inside the second create and write something inside it like the test 1 and the test 11 and something like this and create. So I have all of this data and if I click on the create, then let's see what's going on inside the codes and let's maximize this for better results. At the top I have the task and its type is iAction result. It is async or asynchronous or simultaneously method or action. Then I have the create and inside it I have the ID, first name, last name, age, rec date and grades and get all of this from the appropriate text boxes from this, the next one up to the end. And then get all of this and bind it to the student and name it the student with the lowercase. Now I have the student and if I hover on the student, you can see it is something like this. The age is 3, the first name test 1 up to the end. Indeed, after calling this method, first the Visual Studio gets the data from all of this and bind it to the student table or the DB set or the model. Then create the new object and name it a student. And in the next step, I need to check if everything is valid or not. Later I'll talk about this matter, so don't worry about anything and just skip that. Go to the next line and if the data is valid, it means everything is entered here. Then save back the changes inside the database by this line of the code and redirect to the index page. So the continue and the result is like this, redirecting to the main page or the index view. But if I have some errors inside the text boxes or if I take a look, let's continue inside this. So this if is not true and escape it up to here and return the create view itself and return this one or stay here and show it one more time to the user to fix the errors and the problems. So this was the quick tour about what's going on inside the actions of the create view or the create form. And what about the next step? In the next step, let's take a deeper look inside the design of this one. To do that, come over here and expand this. Right click over here and let's select the inspect. I want to take a deeper look inside all of this one by one. Click over here, and as you see at the top, I have the create, and it is the heading 1. The next one is heading 4, then the horizontal line, and after that I have the div, and it is the row, the entire items inside it. Then if I expand that, I have the next one, and it is all of these items inside it. And if I take a look, great, the column with the width equals to 4. First we talked about it, it means from here up to the end is up to 12 parts, and the column MD4 means the width of the column is up to 4 of 12. Currently, I assume that you are familiar with the Bootstrap and its basic concepts. So if you don't know anything about this, don't hesitate to watch my quick review of the Bootstrap. Then let's expand that, and I have the form. This is a really important matter, the form to send back the data. And if I take a look inside the Visual Studio, as you see, I have the HTTP post over here. When the user click on the save button, then this method will be executed easily and quickly because it is the HTTP post. Now let's come over here, and it is, if I take a look, the form, and come to the next, and the action is students / the create. Then I have the group of controls, and if I take a look at the first, it is the form group. This is the form, then the form group. Each item has its own form group, and inside it I have the label or the caption, and it is the first name. Then I have the input to get the value from the user. Also I have some other information like the field first name must be a string with the maximum length of the 50 up to the end. Then I have the span at the bottom, but it is invisible over here, and it is the control to show the error message to the user or validation error messages to the user. Something like this one, the first name field is required, or something like this, and other messages related to this. And after this, if I take a look, I have another form group for the next item up to the end, up to here, easily and quickly. So let's take a deeper look inside the actual codes. So come over here and get inside the create. This is the create, and if I take a look at the top, it has the model import, and if I take a look, let's be patient for better result like this, and let's close this one. Great, now it looks better. Then I have the heading 1. You can see the heading 1 over here, the create, the student, and the row. Then I have the div, and it is up to 4 number in the width. Then I have the form ASP action, and this is the form to send back the data to the user, the data of these controls and text boxes. And after that I have the div, and this div is invisible over here, and it is to show the general error messages to the user. And by default it is the model only, and only show the errors of the models, but you can select the none or the all to show all the errors, or to show none of the general error messages. By default let's set it to the model only. And after that, if I take a look, I have the div, and it is the form group. You can see from here up to here. At the first I have the label to show the text to the user or the caption. Then I have another input, and it is ASP4 first name. The ASP4, as I mentioned previously, is the great tag helper to assign the ID, the name, and also the value to the controls. So I have the first name, so it's connected to the first name. Then I have the class over here. And beyond all of this, I have another span to show the dedicated error message to the user from the validation, ASP validation for the first name. It means validate the first name. And after that, I have the next and similar div over here for the next one. It is the form group up to the end. And finally, I have the form group, and it is the input to submit the data to the controller to save it in the SQL database, and it is the create. If you take a look, it is the create, the value is create, this one indeed. So the question is how I can assign the validation rules to these controls and the items. Suppose I want to prevent saving the first name when it is empty. It's really simple. To do that, easily get inside the Solution Explorer and the models and the student. So I want to assign the protection or guard for the empty first name. So come and find the first name. This is the first name. Add the square brackets, and inside it write the required. So this is the required, easily and quickly. Now if I save everything and come over here, and let's save the data back inside the database and create. So the error is added. The first name field is required. Indeed, this is the span that I mentioned over here. And if I take a look, it is the span. Which span? This span, to show the dedicated error to the user. Also, we have another span that is common between other controls and will show the common or general error messages to the user only for the model items. Currently, I don't want to work with it, so the first name field is required. Also, we can customize this error message easily and come over here and add the parentheses. And here I have the difference in available options and the parameters, but my favorite one is the error message. So I can say the error message, and this is the error message, and write anything that you want. For instance, please write first name. Please write first name and save it back. Now let's come over here and rebuild and apply changes. Why? Because currently I'm running the application in the debug mode. So let's be patient. Now let's come over here, and this is my first name, and get inside the create new and the first name. This time let's create and please write first name, and you can see this message over here. So let's write something inside it like TT or something like that and create. Without any problem, I got inside this one. And previously we talked about the model set is valid. The model set is valid means there is no errors over here. Currently I haven't any errors over here, and I fixed that. So if I hover on the model set and get inside the items, I have the keys inside it. If you take a look, I have all of these keys, including the age, grade, last name, and the first name. And also if I hover on it one more time, I have the values and the results view. So I have the result something like this. The validation state equals valid for the age. The next one is validation state valid for the grade up to the end. It means all of these are valid and have the appropriate and correct data inside them. So the model state is valid, return the true to save back the data inside the database. And if I continue, I can see the amazing and great result like this. Now let's talk about another tricky note. Currently I haven't any null values inside the first name, but I have some null values inside the last name. Let's see what will happen if I add some guard or protection over here in the last name. To do that, get inside the student and let's copy the required or faster results and come to the last name and paste over here and say please write the last name. So this is the last name. Save everything and rebuild, and let's be patient. After a couple of seconds, wow, what happened? Unhandled exception occurred and data is null. So this method or property can't be called on null values. It means there is some null records in your last name or inside the first name. The first name hasn't any kind of the null values. So if I take a look, all of these have the value inside it, but I have the null value over here in the last name, and because of this one I got this error. Why? Because I added the required tag or property or attribute to the last name, but currently I have the null value inside it, and it is the origin of the error. So if you got something like this error, don't worry about anything, and just get inside your SQL database and right click on this, execute the query, and add some valid values inside the last name. So this is the love and the love and the love for this one. Now if I refresh, come over here and refresh, everything will be done. Or let's check it one more time to be sure everything is added. Yes, this is another null over here, and name it the love. Click over here to save in the database and refresh. After a couple of seconds, wow, everything is done. You know what, if you want to be successful in professional programmer, you should be genius, and don't be afraid and don't be disappointed if you got any unexpected errors. Indeed, you are creator of this website or this application, so you are responsible for any errors inside your codes. As the result, if you got any errors or unexpected problems, you need to focus on your codes and try to check different matters and different changing in your codes to finally find the origin of the error and solve it. This is the reality of the programming world. You are responsible for any error and any problem in the application and the website. Don't forget to consider this matter. So I fixed the problem easily by writing some values inside the null records. Congratulations, we did it. Now we learned many great tips and tricks about how to add the new record inside the database. Indeed, we are over here. We did it, the create, and also the create in the post back. So what about the next step? In the next step, I'm going to talk more about the final part, and it is the edit. It's time consuming, so stay with me about the edit, but it's time consuming, so stay with me. Thanks for your time.